Okay, the potential about solar cells designed in 5 dimensions. What is this video about? And I'm doing that while I am walking down this trail to a small city where I think I'll get some food and then I will walk back on. On this video I will focus on the potential of silicon made in the right way. I have taken my 3 alternative personas with me. You see here Patrick Dumas, the redhead, the blue head. Okay, it's not about Hillerød, this one here, but it will be Hans Weismann, which is the more intellectual persona, and the pink one is of course Sandy Piggly Dick, which is more GDP person. And the real me, is how I present myself in the world. Is this hi, and the focus is off, so I should look like this. This is how I am personally, and then I take the other personas with me to spice up the videos and so on. This video is about the potential of solar cells made in the right way and designed in the right way, which is of course in 5 dimensions. This is my first shooting video. I've thought about it for 6 months and I'm getting nowhere, so now I'm doing more gonzo style, where I just film the things, and somehow it's camera's in love with me, so it going, yeah, that's it better. So this is what this video about. So I have prepared a lot, but preparing is not everything, execution is everything. So if you see, I have my hat with me. That's what it's not about hat, this video, but the video is about silicon made into photoelectric cells that can converting daylight into electricity. Here I have a morphed silicon crystal, small one, and here I have the amorphed one. The other one is the crystallite form. You see how these 6 shapes go right through it. So this is a crystal with a higher order, and this one is more chaotic. So silicon has this potential of it can convert every visible light into electricity. And now my camera is in love with me again. Hi. Okay, so if you can see light, silicon have the capacity to turn that light into electricity. And it do by 1 quant jump. So light photon with low energy, which is visible in the red spectrum, has a low energy, but it gives the same energy as a light photon in the ultraviolet. And here, here, of course, Patrick will have said, yeah, but you just told me that it was visible light. UV light is not visible. And that's right, UV light is not visible, but it still can create energy. And for our regular solar cells, this is very important, because regular solar cells has very sharp of converting UV light into electricity. there's one catch about this, is that a day like this, you see cloudy weather and so on, not so many UV light here, so that's why the potential of a regular solar cell falls a lot. I guess if it's placed in the right direction, directly at the sun, even though there are clouds, can still producing about 15 to 13 watts. If it was my invention, real inventions, it's created in 5 dimensions, it will have creating about 90 to 130 watts per square meters, because diffuse light has the same potential as direct light if you constructed it right. And I think you should construct it right, but all these very smart people thinks differently. They think should construct it in this way, so a solar cell is optimized to perfect conditions. But normal condition is like this, and a day like this, you can easily produce. Here I'm standing on Tenerife at the Canary Island in January month. You can easily produce for a household. See a household here up there. And now I can see if I can have the zoom version. Sometimes you can be so smart that you're not that smart anyway. So here, if I zoom into this house, a house like this can easily, in the day hours, produce electricity. There will be like energy that's like 3 to 5 times more than they're using here in January month, which is the darkest month here in the northern hemisphere. And then of course Patrick will say, yeah, the darkest month in December, you idiot. Yeah, that's right, the darkest month in December. But normally, for most part, if the coldest month is in January, so you need a lot of power also. And you can produce that just by daylight, which I think is good. So, walking a little bit further down the trail here, you see it's a very nice area in Tenerife. And here we're coming to a small abandoned finca, which has a roof. There's some hole in the roof, but you can creating these 3D diamond stones, which is the best solution on this in the universe to convert light from a dwarf. From a red dwarf star to electricity. But you say, okay, we're living with a yellow dwarf star. Yeah, but red dwarf star is more common, and this is the technology, best technology in the world. And I think you should acquire this also on Earth, especially because you see here. We have this cloudy weather, and with the cloudy weather, if you place it on the north side and the south side, you will have an average production of power about 80 to 95 watts per square meter in average. A little more on the south than on the north side. Compared to if you have like perfect daylight, then you have like over 200 watt on the south side. Maybe 240 watts on the south side. and you only have like 10 or 15% watt on the north side. So that will give an average about 110 and so 20 watt per in average. So you're going from 110 to about 90 per square meters from perfect condition to cloudy condition. And so that's not that big a drop if you put it on both sides of the roof and that's why you will have a stable supply of energy from sunrise to sunset. If you're using the right technology, which nobody shall do. Everybody should do, but according to smart people, everybody should making shitty technology. I try to provoke this universal best technology. Nobody wants to listen. You can see how clumsy my video are and so on. Maybe it's understandable, but that doesn't change the fact that this is the worst technology. And if you want to survive our civilization, that's the way to go. And as you see here, this finger is lying basically in the middle of nowhere. And that means it's created without electricity and so on. So if you want to creating utility to this house, it will cost a fortune to lay cables and so on to down to this finger. It's a beautiful location, you see. Very beautiful. See down there the Atlantic Ocean. Magnificent, isn't it? Just magnificent. But creating utility to this house, well, that's a no-go if you're using regular utility. But why don't you just try to make energy independent systems? You can make a finger like this, energy independent. You're just creating these diamond power stones on the roof, and a roof like this will creating about quick estimate what will be create about we have like 1300 total energy here. No, that cannot. Yeah, 1400 kilowatt hours every annual per square meters in average on flat surface here. Let's take it to 1200 or something. I have another calculation here, but like 1200 kilowatt hour per square meters, and we have a house area about must be 50 areas, so that's 50 times so that's the potential of about 60,000 kilowatt hours if it's a total perfect solution. My solution is not perfect, but it will be able to creating about, let's take it about 20,000 kilowatt hours to a finger like this in every year. That's way more than it use. They probably will only use like 1500 and so on. But you also need to storage the energy and so on. So have to apply and so on to storage the energy. And but here you don't store it so much because you have like you don't have this cold winter period, cold dark when I'm from Denmark, so it's all about cold dark winters and so on. Gives very challenge in energy solutions. Challenge you can solve if you think about it. But here you don't have that because this is the winter time and it's, I think it's 60 degrees and so on. So you can see I have short shirts and so on, so it's, you can manage. You don't need so much heating. And now my camera is in love with me again. Should not deny people techniques that's in love with me. So yeah. So here you can easily making this independent, and if you creating some additional systems, they're converting, taking some little bit hydrogen out of power and converting biomass and so on. You could also creating fuel, and maybe even creating let's say about 2000 kilojoule of solid fuel could use for airplanes and so on. Should give you little extra insects delivering renewable energy directly from a small low value finger like this. That's the other part. These diamond surface doesn't cost that much. They're cheap, very efficient, very stable production. Nobody wants to listen to it. If you were watching this, I'm thanking you, fordi you are listening to a crazy man that just talking about this. Okay, let's talk about a storage energy and the potential of it. I found some rock I can illustrate about it. If you want to be energy independent based on diamond stones, auction of for your house around this will be around this rock, symbolizing the mass of energy you can produce just the rooftop. And if you want to storage it, then you can doing that in creating some hydrogen. If you're doing that, you will have like a stone which I estimate about 25% of the other big stone. So you have lost 55% of your power when you convert it into hydrogen. And hydrogen is a problem because it takes a lot of space and so on. So maybe you should convert it again. And if you convert it into methanol, then you have far less energy again. And if you want to using that, refine it again, you cannot run planes on methanol, only model planes and so on, but not commercial planes. It's very interesting. I will do that in another video I plan. But then you have to create it with some biomass, the methanol, some biomass, more hydrogen and so on, and then you have this energy. So if you want to making airplanes fly and so on, but solar power, you need all this energy harvesting as direct energy, and then you need a lot of process, and then you ending up with this energy, a small rock, which is about, I'm estimating about 0.5 to 2% of the big rock. So you will lose a lot of energy, and people are not satisfied by that. What can I do? You have to find another universe. This is just the law of physics. The good problem is that you have all these, you can see there's big rocks everywhere and so on. All of them can convert into electricity. So you have the primary, you have a lot of big rocks to creating the energy. Actually, every year the Earth gets hit by 10,000 times more energy than we are consuming. But that's direct energy. You need to convert it if you want to use like jet fuel or diesel and so on. You have to convert it into compact energy. This is the reason why it's very hard to compete with fossil fuels, because that's already compact. Back here to some vacation photos about Tenerife. You see, walking this trail, you can feel that I'm out of breath because I get fat and heavy. Fat and heavy do not agree with this area, but it's looking nice, isn't it? It's so nice. So that's the city I am trying to reach. Shouldn't be that far down there. And there should also be some castles down there and so on. New built castles. You can see in the end, that's the airport, where all the plans is. Some airplane just coming in. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it's a Norwegian Air. I guess from Norway down to here. Every customer will have costing must be about 140 liters of fuel to get here in average. It's very hard to get over these challenges, isn't it? To a new technology, to making the world renewable. But it's possible. Just creating the right technology. If you do it the right way, it's not that hard. Okay, I will keep on walking. It's so nice here. And then I will tell a little bit about the physics of turning light into electricity. So we come a little bit down the trail. I'm living over there. And I'm halfway, and I also need to go back, so probably should start moving. But now it's about the physics of a photoelectric cell or a solar cell. It's a photo voltage effect. You see here they have an old sign, probably not that old, maybe 5 years or something. And it's very hard to see what's on it now. Almost impossible. I think if you're using a lot of time and studied it good and so on, and you can still decipher what the sent here. But this effect is the photoelectric effect. If this one has been in the dark, you probably could read it in 1,000 years from now, because when light hits it, electrons starts to get more energy, and then they start to react. And when they're starting to react, you see there starts a reaction, and this kind is a negative effect because the light has destroyed this sign. It's almost impossible. So when you are making electricity, you need to have some solid material that can transfer this light into electricity. And it's also doing that with the photoelectric effect. The photoelectric effect is the whole issue about it. This one is a model about a crystalline silicon. Ordered in the perfect order. It has a diamond structure, and you see diamond structure is a little bit like a hexagonal structure also. You see these hexagonal parts. The only difference between them is that you see it's not a hexagonal structure. The planes there are flat, where in diamond structure you can see they are a little bit curved and so on. And in diamond structure, every atom has 4 neighbors it's binded to. And so the binding is binding with some electrons. So basically you see the balls here are representing the inner atoms, and the connection parts here is symbol is representing the binding between the atoms and so on. And basically all this is a big cloud of electrons. The one closest to the ball, they are very locked and so on by the nucleus and so on, and they will not be in action. But the electrons, they are moving between all the atoms there. That's the one that are in place. And when a light hits one of these, it has the possibility to eject the electrons. Basically, this is a cloud of 2 electrons moving, symbolized. And so it can hit one of the electrons and move it out. And when it moves out into this, you see this tube, this hexagonal tube that is in the middle, and then it can move around in the crystal and so on. So that's why you have creating a electron hole pair. You have a electron here free in the crystal, and you have a hole where the electron was. To creating electricity, you need to fill in electrons, to fill the holes with electrons, and you take out the electrons that are free, as they are moving around here. The electrons that are moving around has more energy. That means you are removing energy with high energy, and you are moving electrons with high energy, of course. And you are delivering electrons with low energy into the crystal. So what they don't tell you in books and so on is one very important thing about these crystals is that you should be able to have conductivity of electrons with low energy and conductivity with electrons in high energy. Normally high energy is not a problem. For example, if you go back to this map, electrons that had been ejected here and so on and have made it react, they have moved around, and then there are all these holes inside in it, and they take it slowly, and due to the holes they have some common reaction, and they change the subject. If you want to have a good solid material that keep on producing electricity year after year after year, you need to have a solid material. That's why it's a bad idea to using plastic or perovskite and so on. That material will never work. Okay, so it's very important that you're using a material that has a direct bond gap between the electrons. So when you have a direct bond gap, the electron with low power can move directly up to the conductivity part, and I don't have to use extra energy of moving out. All this about symmetric or direct bond gap, asymmetric bond gap or dissymmetric bond gap. It's basically about when you erect this electron, does it need to change path? In silicon, the electrons are moving between the 2 atoms. When there are electrons, when the energy are moving one of an energy, it needs also it needs to change direction also. So it needs to go up in energy and change direction. Let's make it an asymmetric bond gap. That means normally if you just have the right energy to making electron jump, which is 1.1 electron volt for silicon, it's very hard to make it because you need to the electron needs to get the energy, and it also needs to change direction. So that makes it hard to use this high energy infrared to convert into electricity. But the advantage of it is that the electrons are very stable. They are very stable, you know. When they first move up in these tubes of energy, they're not so easily moving down to the holes. That means when you have creating energy in your crystal, then you also, the energy stays in the crystal until, so you have much more time to harvest it. And there's actually some solutions. This is a perfect crystal. This is more like a amorph crystal form. You don't see this high order of the atoms. The atoms here are arranged more chaotic. And when they are doing that, you often see that the bond gap gets little less anisotrope. That means that this amorphed silicon has easier to catch energy with photons with low energy. So the right solution is, of course, having perfect structure on top of the cell and the amorph on the bottom. And the good part about that is it's also a very easy and very cheap way, the cheapest way to constructing solar cells. That's why my solar cells can be made much more cheaper. For about, it only costs 20-40% of what solar cell cost again. And then there's also cost of material and so on. So it will still be a lot cheaper, way cheaper actually, especially in high production. So I hope you get a little bit understanding about this physics. So I take it again here. Electrons moving into the crystal, they are kicking one electron out of, give it more energy, so make it free electron. It frees one electron far from it's locked between atoms. Then it can move around. It's not locked to any atoms. When you're doing that, you're creating an electron hole pair, a hole and an electron. Solar cells need to be constructed so you can have conductivity of electrons with low energy and conductivity with electrons in high energy. In a silicon or in hexagonal structure, the conductivity of the electrons comes by creeping between all the atoms. Basically, it's just a hole moving out of the crystal, and when you fill up the hole, it's basically an electron moving in. So all this road between the atoms there, boom, 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 boom. That's the road for the electrons with low energy into it. And it's easier with the electrons with high power. They can move around in the crystal freely. So, but it also means they are moving much faster. Okay, that was the physics about solar cells. And all this slide around you here, if you can see it with your eyes, you can creating electricity power. And silicon do that. Silicon can do that. And how much silicon do we have on the world? Yeah, if you see down here this valley, you see the white areas and you see the rocks and so on. The rocks are brown. That means they have a little bit of iron oxide in it, mostly. Maybe also a little bit manganese and so on. This is volcanic rocks. But the most of all these rocks is silicon oxide. The crust of the earth contains 28% of silicon. 28% of silicon. But smart people say you should not use silicon for solar cells, which I think is crazy. But I guess that's why they're smart, so they don't need to say smart things. They can just say I'm smart. See again, very beautiful hiking trail here in Tenerife. Actually all over the Canary Islands. So much nice getting away from Danish winter. Rambling so much about solar cells and photoelectric effect, so it's getting dark and so on. Should not be walking here in the darkness. It's too much. It's too much risk and so on. Yeah, spend too much time talking about solar cells. You see, the sun are getting low. It's over 4 o'clock now. I was planning to go into that city there, but right now it seems like I'm going that way, and I don't think I'm going to that one. You can see they have built a little castle there. I was a little interested in that. So I will be heading back to where I'm staying, and I think there's a folk down there, up there. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's very nice. So I think I will pack my camera and heading home. I have like 100 meters to walk up, and I think it's like 3 kilometers home and something like that. And I don't want to be here in the mountains when it gets dark, so I will take the car down there. So you're probably saying, how can you take a car when you're fighting for independence of fossil fuel? Well, I can do that because this is not about that. It's about creating the right technology, which I'm doing. Which I'm trying. Nobody wants to listen, of course. So, and you can also make a car drive on renewable fuel. I will hopefully do that in another video. So, but you can see everybody is driving down there, back and forward, all alone here in the mountains area. Haven't met anybody. I walked here a couple of days ago, didn't meet anybody else except for 2 ravens that was just checking me out, see if I was a nice guy and so on. I don't know what they conclude. I haven't seen them. But probably she's pretty sure they have seen me. But smart people, smart birds. I think you should. I will recommend people are going here. It's nice, but a lot of people are going here, so maybe no, not listening to me here.